Hello and welcome to the Stew at JT Brew. I'm your host, Justin Taylor. Alongside me today, Ben Dyer. We are going to talk everything NCAA tournament action. We got all the bets you want to hear, all the long shots, plus our favorite bets to make the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, Final Four, and Champion. All that ahead here on the Stew with JT Brew on Total Apex Sports. Stick with us. You're in the Stew. Ben, thanks for joining me. Talking NCAA tournament, best time of year. We are live at Autotown. Ben has let us come here to Autotown. We're having a little bracket uh, party tonight, filling out brackets, turning everything in. Back in the day, we used to do what we called the bracket bar crawl on the Tuesday before the before the tourney. We'd go around, hit up every bar and restaurant in town that was having a bracket. We'd fill out the brackets and turn them in. That is no longer a thing with everything online and with legalized poker machines in Illinois, where we live. No longer can bars and restaurants hold brackets without getting in trouble. So you have to do everything online. Luckily, we have legal sports betting here in Illinois. So we are jumping in, doing all kinds of tournaments online, DraftKings, FanDuel, all the other stuff. But Ben has been gracious enough to host a party where we can all just come out and fill out brackets and do them on our phone if we want to. But Ben, you remember back in the day, just hand cramping about the fourth or fifth bar where you're filling out your bracket. And we used to do about 10 to 15 brackets in one run of the day. Those were crazy times.
And before like cell phone cameras, you had to fill one out to turn in. Then you had to fill one to keep for yourself. So you had, you know. So
Absolutely. I remember when the first time somebody had a cell phone that took pictures, and we were like doing that. We are still filling out the second bracket, and then one of the guys was like, "Hey, dude, just take a picture on your phone." I'm like, mind blown. I'm like, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard of. I'm like, this is gonna be amazing. Made the experience so much better because literally you were spending so much time and you had to get around to every bar. So you were having like one drink, maybe half a drink at a bar because you're spending your whole time filling everything out. But man, when they did that, and then when they started coming out with the NCAA tournament app, and then on ESPN where you could actually go into the bar and you could either take a picture or you could actually just fill out the bracket on ESPN and put what bar name you were at, and then you could keep track of all of them really easy. I'm like, man, it made things so much simpler once we got to the technology involved in all this.
yeah, there's still something about writing it down though. It's kind of nice, I kind of like doing that. Just one of them at least, so just the feeling of writing them down. But
Absolutely. We printed out a bunch of brackets, brought them here tonight, here to Autotown in Champaign, Illinois. Let me know if you don't live in Illinois, you can still get online, autotown. .com, right, Ben? You can look up any kind of car. They ship cars, they do all kinds of stuff. High end used vehicles. It's autotown.com, right?
townonline.com.
Autotownonline.com. So go ahead and jump in there. Take a look. My girlfriend just picked up a new car today. She's super pumped. Ben took care of her. She's fired up about it. Got herself a nice 2018 Jag SUV. Thing is pretty sweet action. She's pretty pumped about it. She's already yelled at the kids, told them you're not eating in my car. Keep your messy shoes out of here. She's in full new car mode. It's fantastic.
No, yeah, she got a good one. That was good. We appreciate the business.
So what we're going to do here tonight, we're not going to give you necessarily our full-fledged bracket. We can post some of those online, but we're going to talk about bets. That's the board thing, right, Benny? If you can't, that if your bracket is dead at the end, you can still place bets on the games. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite bets, some of the things we like, teams to go for, teams to win the national championship, just some different stuff we like. So we're going to kind of jump in and break that down now. Let's start things off. Ben, let's talk about region. So if you want to talk about region bets, the team gonna win the bet and make the final four. Going through some of the odds, obviously you got the favorites: UConn, Houston, Purdue. North Carolina. Those are some of the top end teams. Here are some of my bets. I'm just going to throw out to people some of my favorites. Some of these are a little more long shot bets, but I'd like to sprinkle in. I'm not going to just take all the number ones. I like to sprinkle some in. So my favorite long shot bet in the East. And this is, I think, the toughest bracket. I think it's a really tough bracket out east. But one of the favorite ones, I like Baylor plus 650. I think they're a sneaky good team out of the Big 12. I definitely think they have a chance to get some upsets in there. That's a team I like out of the South. Kentucky, the number 3 seed, is plus 700. So they're one of the ones I'm a fan of. I like Kentucky in that region. If you're looking for a little bit longer odds, out of the Midwest, Tennessee, the 2 seed is plus 350 to win that Midwest region. And then I am taking one favorite. I do like North Carolina plus 300 to win the West. So those are 4 of the top ones I like. Ben, anything you like kind of looking through these brackets when you were taking your initial look at the brackets? Who were some of the teams you either like to make the Final Four or win the region, or it was a team you're like, hey, this is a little bit of a long shot, but I kind of like the betting odds on it?
In terms of the long shots, I like where you're at on all those. Really, I think. Unfortunately, I'm kind of the mindset that this might be a year where there won't be a long shot that actually wins wins the one of their East, North, Southwest, Midwest. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but if it is gonna happen, I like the ones that you picked for sure. I think those teams definitely have a chance. They have the talent. I mean, Kentucky, obviously, they've been there a million times. So if there's a team, that's going to be comfortable making a run as a long, as a long shot, the fact that they're long odds is kind of crazy in general. But yeah, I don't know why, but I'm just feeling in terms of the overall. I think there's obviously going to be this a crazy tournament. There's going to be some big upsets in the first round, second round, even. But I think when it comes right down to like winning that region, I think we're going to see chalk for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. I'm liking UConn to come out. They got, like you said, that's probably the toughest region. Yeah, I mean, Illinois is in there. You got Auburn, who could definitely sneak through. Um, I like Houston; they're the 1 seed, but I like them a lot. So I'm not going to be giving you anything too crazy and probably not a lot of fun. But I feel like it's going to be a lot of chalk when it comes down to the Elite Eight Final Four.
Yeah, I like it. And I actually misspoke. I got to correct myself here. I just noticed I said Baylor in the East at plus 650. That is totally my fault. Baylor is not in the East. I don't know why I mistyped that. Baylor's in the West with North Carolina. So those are my 2 favorite West spots. I like North Carolina at plus 300, but if I'm looking for a little bit longer odds, I like Baylor at plus 650 in the West. So excuse me, misspoke there originally. The team I like out of the East, obviously, UConn's the favorite. They're going to be extremely difficult to bet against as they are the defending champs. They're number 1 seed, number 1 in the country. They've been great all year. My long shot in the East was Illinois. I got on Illinois plus 700 to win that earlier. I'm not sure where the odds. I have to look at and see if that's been updated because it was a couple days ago when I got on that. I got on Illinois plus 700 a little bit early on in the action to make the Final Four, win that region. So they're a little bit surprised. Obviously, Illinois, they're right next to us, so we've seen a ton of Illinois. We're going to be having a ton of people root for Illinois. They just won the Big Ten tournament. They finished second in the regular season. They've been spectacular. This team can run and gun. They can guard anyone when they want to. They haven't necessarily played a lot of defense lately, but when they want to shut it down, they can. That's a matchup I want to see. I want to see Elite Eight, UConn, Illinois. I think that would be a fantastic matchup to see who could get to the Final Four. So that's my kind of upset if you're looking for someone out of the East, which I think is the biggest of the most difficult bracket. Like I said, you've got UConn, defending national champ. You got Florida Atlantic, who made the Final Four last year, is the 8 seed. So if they could get by Northwestern, they play UConn in what was almost the final championship game last year as Florida Atlantic lost on a last second shot to San Diego State. I was there for it. It was wild. It was crazy. San Diego State, where I also went to school, they're the actual 5 seed in this bracket. So they were in the championship game in the Final Four last year. They're in this bracket. You got Illinois, who won the Big Ten tourney. You got Auburn, who won the SEC tournament. You've got Iowa State, who won the Big 12 tournament. I mean, they loaded up this East bracket. I think this thing is going to be. They did no favors to UConn, giving them the #1 seed and then giving them the toughest bracket. I think.
I think Purdue got the most favors. If you just look at
Mm-hmm.
all the #1 seeds, and apparently they were like the third 1 seed. But if you start going through their region, I mean, Gonzaga's not the team that they were, a year ago or even the last 5 years. I mean, there's some good teams in there, but Tennessee's probably the scariest one. Maybe Creighton if they got really hot, but I mean, Kansas is down. Um, I don't know. I think Purdue got set up to go to a Final Four like fairly easily.
Totally agree with you, Benny. I think for sure. I think Purdue got the easiest bracket there on the run. We actually just had Scott. Thanks for jumping on here and watching Scott. He said Iowa State, Illinois will be a really good game if they both get there. I agree. I think that is going to be just an absolute slugfest if they can get to play each other in the Sweet 16. Illinois knocked out early the last couple times in the tourney. I actually really like their setup. The odds are not way long for them to meet the Sweet 16, but I actually like those odds of them making the Sweet 16. I like them against Moorhead in the first round. I think they take out BYU in the second round. I think they just have too much firepower. But man, the Iowa State team, long, they play defense. That is going to be a crazy game. If those two teams can get together in Omaha, I know there's a lot of Illinois fans going there, and obviously Iowa State pretty close to Omaha. I think that place will be rocking if you get Iowa State. If you can get Iowa State going against Illinois, there. What do you think, Ben?
Totally agree. I'm hoping that we make it that far. Like you said, this whole region is crazy. So even our first round game, I feel like Illinois will get through that, but it's not going to be. I mean, we're not going to probably blow them out, and then so Illinois is going to have a couple of tough games just to get to that game. But I think you're right. I think if we can get in there with Iowa State, that'll be an unbelievable game. Another Illinois team in this same region, Northwestern, and I know a lot of people from around here are pulling for Northwestern, but I'd be weary about that one. I think they might have peaked and come down a little bit, and they've got some injury issues and whatnot. And Florida Atlantic is a really good team, so I think I can't remember what the spread is exactly on that game, but I would look to probably fade Northwestern and take Florida Atlantic in that first one. I think Northwestern's about out of gas.
Yeah, if you like Northwestern, here's the bet I like on there: taking Northwestern money line and then taking Boo Booey over points. I think he's going to have a monster game if they're going to win that game. I think he's absolutely going to have to light it up to
Like
help Northwestern.
the Boo Booey bet, regardless if they win or not. I mean, that's just something you could bet because he's going to have to carry that team. I think one of their bigs, and I don't know all the names on that team, but somebody had been injured, and maybe got back
Mhm.
100%. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I think Boo Booey's probably going to have points no matter what in that game. So
Yeah, I think that's a big matchup in that region. Another game, I think like San Diego State, I like that. Then moving on, playing Auburn, I think that's a big one that will be a nice little matchup down the road. Um, I was going to jump in here, Ben. Let's talk as we get going here. Before we get too crazy into this thing and get at some of our long shot bets, let's kind of talk about national champions, some of those things, see kind of where the bets lie, get your head wrapped around that. Right now, as I looked the other day, Currently on DraftKings, you have UConn at plus 360 to win the national championship on a repeat. I don't think that's terrible for them as a repeat. Obviously, it's hard to get back there and repeat, but if anybody could do it, could be this team. Houston's at plus 550, Purdue at plus 700, Arizona plus 1200, North Carolina plus 1300 is kind of one of my sneaky ones as a one seed at plus 1300. A team that was in the Final Four 2 years ago, then missed the tourney altogether last year. Plus 1300, I kind of like. Tennessee, who's never been in the Final Four, they're plus 1600 to win it. A sneaky one, two other sneaky ones I like, and you're going to hear me say this a lot throughout this broadcast. Kentucky at plus 2200, then Illinois at plus 3000. I think some people have jumped onto that because I think it's maybe down to plus 2500 the last time I looked. So obviously they've got to get by UConn, and that's not going to be easy at all. But if they could get there, I think they can beat anyone with their just speed and athleticism. So those are some sneaky ones I like as kind of as far as what the top 1, 2 seeds look like, is then some of the deeper teams, with North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, 2, a 3, Illinois is a 3. Any of those stand out to you, Ben, as bets you looking at maybe jumping on?
I'm with you 100%. I think, just for the pure long shot odds of it. I mean, Illinois. I mean, obviously we're kind of homers, but they have a team that can play with anybody. I mean, they've got the talent, they've got the depth. Yeah, they haven't played a lot of defense all year, but they haven't really had to. So it's just one of those things where if they buckle down and play defense, they can beat anybody. So I don't see why Illinois, they granted they have probably one of the toughest roads as usual. It seems to always happen that way, but they could do it. I mean, they just won the Big Ten tournament. They're kind of hot. They're battle tested. They have a roster that's full of upperclassmen. I mean, they have all the makings of a team that can make a run. So, they got to get through UConn if they get that far, and they got to get through Iowa State, but they definitely could do it. And for a plus 3,000 bet, it's like, what, throw $10 on it and see what happens. It's kind of a fun one. But yeah, that one and the Kentucky one, that's the other one that stands out. I mean, they're going to have Kentucky's. I haven't watched a lot of Kentucky basketball this year, but you just know they're going to have top tier talent. They've been there before, the coaching. So, I mean, for those odds, that seems like that's a pretty good bet too. So, I like those
Yeah,
two.
Kentucky's been banged up a lot of the year. They haven't been fully healthy. They've got insane talent. The team doesn't always buckle down and play defense, which I think sometimes is the case when you have nothing but like 5-star guys on your team. So they're a team that I could absolutely see making a huge run. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they got knocked off early. It's just like they're one of those teams. It's like if they got cold and don't buckle down, play D. But man, the talent level on that team for Kentucky, I think they can beat anyone. But they've also shown they can kind of get knocked off this year. As you see, they're 23-9, 9 losses this year. There's the 3 seed. I like them against Oakland. I think Texas Tech, NC State's a nice matchup for them in the second round. And then, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Marquette gets there and plays against them. Marquette, obviously, their starting point guard, their best players injured. No word on yet if he's going to play in the tournament. They're hoping he is going to play. Not sure if that's going to that will make a big difference for Marquette, who's been extremely tough this year as well. So that could be a really nice Sweet 16 matchup between Kentucky and Marquette there as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Marquette. I don't know. It seems like they're one of those teams, and I mean, kind of like Illinois, unfortunately, where they've had some really good seasons, and then they get in the tournament, and they just never seem to make the long run that people think they're gonna. And I don't know. I don't know if I trust Marquette for some reason. If you're going for long odds bets anyway, I don't. I'd rather roll with Kentucky and just see how that pans out.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. For me, I'd rather put the money on Kentucky than Marquette. I'm just worried that their point guard doesn't come back, and if he does, how healthy is he going to be? So that one definitely makes me scary. I've seen Marquette a bunch of times this year, and they've looked good. They're a good team, but I am a little nervous about that. I will be honest. And I am not one of those people that fill out one bracket only. I will tell you that I fill out a ton of brackets, like we said. I have one main bracket that I mark as my main bracket just to say, hey, this is like my 100% like the number one I believe in. And then I will make adjustments in other pools. But in my number one, I believe in bracket, and you got time, you got a couple hours to put this bet in. I have Colorado taking out Boise State tonight in the play-in game between 2 10 seeds. I actually really like Colorado. They kind of just they ran into an Oregon team on fire in the Pac-12 tourney. They I thought they would have won that tournament. They lost in the championship. If they won, I think they got a much better seed than they end up getting. I'm a little shocked they got put in the play-in game here, getting to the championship game and basically finished second in the Pac-12 this year. So I kind of thought they got underseeded. I think they'll be fired up. I think Boise State's a tough one too. I think this is a great matchup tonight. I mean, I think this is going to be a close game. Right now, it's sitting at -3.5. Um, I've got Colorado. I think it's going to be close, but I'm taking Colorado tonight. I have Colorado winning this game, and then I also have Colorado coming out beating Florida, and then I also have them in a couple brackets upsetting Marquette, as Marquette one of the twos to get knocked out there. So just a little heads up there. I do have them winning and then losing in the second round to Colorado. Colorado, you can get on that bet still tonight. It's -3.5 right now, I think, on DraftKings. That game is on at 9:10, approximately 9:10 Eastern time. So that's one of the ones I like. And again, if you like, even if you like Boise State, the way they've set these brackets up most of the time now is you can just take Boise State or Colorado, either one. It doesn't matter who wins. You take them to win that first round. I'm nervous about Florida injury to their big man in the SEC championship game. I'm just nervous about them. I think Colorado can take them out. They're going to be one of my first round upsets as a 10 seed.
No, I'm with you on that. I think if they, I think Boise State might be just as tough a game for them tonight as the next two rounds will be. So
Totally agree.
I don't know a whole lot about Colorado. I mean, I watched a couple of games that they played, and apparently I can't remember the guy's name, but they've got an NBA prospect on their roster. I mean, so they've got talent. I'm with you. I think Colorado State could they can get through Boise State. They could definitely go on a little run and win a couple games because I don't see anybody else in that little region there that's going to be any better than Boise State, really. I mean, for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
I think a lot of people talked about the Mountain West. I was really tough. We watched a load of Mountain West basketball this year. Me and you both, late night Mountain West basketball. We were all over it, betting it the entire season. So I feel like I know Mountain West basketball just about better than any conference outside the Big Ten this year. Uh, I think they got way underseeded in this. With Boise State getting a 10, New Mexico 11, uh, the fifth seed was San Diego State. They actually finished fifth in the conference in the regular season, but they had probably the best resume. They actually got the 5 seed, the highest seed as and they finished fifth in the conference. I mean, Utah State took one on the chin. They actually won the regular season. And what did they end up getting? They ended up getting an 8 seed after they won it. Colorado State last night played in as a play-in game, and they were tough all year. So I think their Mountain West is going to get some revenge games out there. I really do.
yeah, I agree. I think people want to say, well, they got 6 teams in, but it's like they didn't really give them a whole lot of credit. They kind of
Yeah.
got rough seeds, but that's a tough conference, and all those teams are going to be. They've all played each other, and they're going to be battle tested because they've all played good talent all year long. So I would say if you're going to pick some upsets in the first round, at least see, Vegas is probably, obviously on top of, I haven't looked at all the spreads, but you're going to see some Mountain West teams probably with some small spreads against much better seeds in those first rounds, and those would be some teams I'd be looking to maybe hop on and put a little money line parlay together or something like that, because those teams are gonna, yeah, they've been playing good talent all year. They're gonna know what that feels like.
Yeah, and if you look at Vegas right now, you can tell that Vegas does not agree with the NCAA seeding tournament. A ton of these Mountain West teams are lower seeds, and they're actually favored in these games. They're 2 and 3 point favorites, even though they're a 10 or 11 seed playing, a higher seed. So that shows you what Vegas thinks about it compared to kind of the tournament committee. And while we're talking about this, we'll throw in some different crazy bets or things to look for. Sometimes when you're looking through the bets at this time of year, there's so many things you can bet on, and you forget to look up some of these things. So if you're on DraftKings, if you jump into the Madness props under NCAA tournament, you can actually get on a 12 seed to reach the Elite Eight, 13 seed to reach the Elite Eight, or 11 seed to reach the Elite Eight. Right now, the 11 seed is plus 320. I think the favorite out of the 11 seeds right now is New Mexico. I love New Mexico. They played an absolute fire tournament. I actually put money on them in the Mountain West tournament during the tournament to make the NCAA tournament. I think they were plus 135. They were just on the outside looking in. I loved them. I thought they would make it. They ended up winning and getting the automatic seed. So I will take that, check mark that win. But I like them a lot in this tourney. I think they could win 2 games. They're favored over Clemson. And if they win the same game, it's kind of crazy because they got Baylor in the next round. And Baylor is one of the teams I told you I kind of like to upset and win the region. So I think that's going to be a crazy game. I love that game. But I think New Mexico could make a run. That's plus 320, and you get every 11 seed. The 13 seed is plus 1,000. I'm not as high on that one because I don't like the 13 seeds as much. The 12 seed now, this one I kind of think is sneaky. It's plus 650 if you think a 12 seed will reach the Elite Eight, excuse me. So that's a run. If you think that a team I like a lot, and I've seen quite a few guys on TV say as well. So right now, the 12 seeds, you got UAB, who I have going down to San Diego State in the first round. You've got Grand Canyon against St. Mary's. I think that's going to be an absolute battle. I do kind of like Grand Canyon in that game. I can see Grand Canyon winning that game and then upsetting Alabama in the next round and making a run here. So I do actually like Grand Canyon. They would have to get to the Elite Eight. They'd have to knock off North Carolina. So that's a little bit of an iffy one. But they're a team I think can make it there. You can get a little less odds on these to make the Sweet 16 as opposed to the Elite Eight. On the other side, McNeese is a team a lot of people are talking about possible upset of Gonzaga. I actually am taking Gonzaga. I'm fading McNeese there. A lot of people like McNeese, but I think I'm going to take the Zags. Then they get either Stanford or Kansas. Kansas is injured, banged up right now. I think Stanford's a nice little upset pick there at as a 13 seed. I like them, but I do like Gonzaga. But if you like McNeese, McNeese can knock them off, maybe knock off Kansas or Stanford in the next round. Then they would get Purdue, and they're an up and down team. That Purdue's a team that they could play with. So that's one that's interesting. And so the nice thing on that is you're not necessarily and James Madison, the other 12 seed, 31-3. They've got Wisconsin in the first round. That's a big one. People are really liking James Madison. I'm actually fading that as well. I kind of like Wisconsin. Everybody's starting to lean James Madison. Wisconsin looked great in the Big Ten tournament. I kind of think Wisconsin upsets that. But if you like James Madison, you could get them to win, possibly face Duke in the next round and then Houston. So that's a bet to kind of look at there. The nice thing is, it is tough to make the Elite Eight, but you get all 4 of them as an opportunity to get in. I probably like, if I'm betting that, I probably like the 12 seed the best out of that group. If I just want to say, hey, I'm going to sprinkle a little money on 12 seed making the Elite Eight, you can get that at plus 650 right now under Madness Specialty Props on DraftKings.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, the 11s. I mean, obviously the odds are long for a reason, but I mean it's happened. Obviously, it's happened plenty before, and the fact that you're getting all the 12 seeds, and just one of them's got to make their way. It definitely. I don't really know much about James Madison at all, so, but I feel like just looking at that, I mean, they'd have to go through Houston, but I mean, as tough as Wisconsin has played, they're beatable. And that's the crazy thing about this tournament. I mean, it's that's what's great about it. You just have a lot of teams. Every one of these teams in this tournament has won a lot of games. They know how to win, and it is just going to come down to, that particular day. It's just there's not a 5-game series or a 7-game series. It's just whatever's happening that day. So it's kind of a wild tournament, but that's what makes it fun. And that's, these types of bets where you take a 12 seed to make it, or an 11, and odds are one of those, if you dispersed them out and said, okay, we'll put a little bit on the 11, put a little bit on the 12, and it's a good chance one of those 2 seeds might make an Elite Eight. Uh, so that is kind of a fun bet.
Yeah, and if you jump into the teams that we reach the Sweet 16, you can actually get similar odds of that, but you have to take the individual team. So if you really like Grand Canyon, you can get Grand Canyon right now at plus 600 to make the Sweet 16, not the Elite Eight, just the Sweet 16. You can get them at plus 600. You can get James Madison at plus 750. So those are 2 nice ones. If you think those teams can upset in the first round, obviously the other bet, the Elite Eight, you got to win another game. Um, but you get all 4 of them. But those are some interesting ones that I might be looking to sprinkle, even though I'm probably taking the other teams on those. I do like Grand Canyon. I might sprinkle a little plus 600. McNeese is plus 550 in that mix. Um, Another kind of long shot to make it all the way there. New Mexico is kind of a surprise. This tells you how much people are liking New Mexico. They're only plus 240 as an 11 seed. So that tells you at plus 240, they think they're going to win the first round, and they think they're going to be in the mix with Baylor, because Baylor they'll face in the second round. Baylor's minus 125 and they're plus 240. So I mean, those odds aren't too different for a team that is 11 seed and a 3 seed. That's pretty wild to me. So we've been buying the Lobos for like a week and a half, 2 weeks straight. I feel like everyone is finally on board, and it sucks
Yeah,
because we're losing all our good plus money on the Lobos.
yeah. No, I'm with you. They were, and you know what? They're riding a hot streak, and I mean, a team that's that hot coming to this tournament. I mean, I know the odds are probably, like you said, everybody's kind of figured it out at this point with them, but that's a team that's playing really confident right now. So I still kind of like that. Um, we've seen many a times in this tournament where a team, kind of comes out of nowhere at the end of the season, wins their conference tournament, and then parlays that into winning a couple of rounds in the tournament. So I could definitely see the Lobos moving on. That'd be kind of fun.
Let me look at some couple more here, see if there's something else that kind of jumps out at us. Um, if you're an Iowa State fan, we talked about that a little bit. They're at plus 2,000 right now to win it all. So that one's a nice little one. You could jump on there just to reach the Final Four. Obviously we talked about there to win the regional. Can kind of jump on those. Kentucky's plus 1,000. A team I think that's kind of underrated right now that people aren't talking about a lot about is Creighton. They're a team that was literally 1 point away. They actually blew it against San Diego State. I was at the game in Louisville, uh, at Cardinal Stadium there, the Yum Yum Stadium from KFC. Great little stadium right downtown Louisville. San Diego State lucked out, got some foul calls right at the end, hit 2 free throws to end up winning the game. Lost by a point, or it actually would have been Creighton in the Final Four instead of San Diego State last year. And then San Diego State ended up hitting another one at the buzzer, 1-1 to get the championship game. So Creighton's got a lot of experience. They're a team that's been pretty good all year. They're the 3 seed. I think they take out Akron, and then they would get Oregon, South Carolina in the second round. I kind of like Oregon, who's just been absolutely on fire over the last week of the year. I like them to upset South Carolina, and then Creighton just has to take out Oregon to get to the Sweet 16, and then they would be matched up there. You're looking at either Texas or Tennessee, most likely. I think they can play with both those teams. I think if they play Texas, I think they beat Texas. I think that Tennessee game would be an absolute battle to get to the Elite Eight to possibly face Purdue or someone like that. But I think they match up pretty decently with a team like Purdue if they got there. So I think Creighton is a team that people are kind of I haven't seen a lot of shows or a lot of podcasts or anything on TV with people really talking about Creighton at all. And I think that they're a sneaky team right now to reach the final is they're plus 1200 to win their region. Let me see what they because I didn't even have up what there was to win their region. They're in the Midwest. Let me take a look at that real quick. Let me find it here. Right now, they are plus 400 uh, to win the region. So not a bad. They're third, obviously, is the 3 seed. Purdue's 165. Tennessee's 350. They're plus 400. I kind of like them at plus 400 or Gonzaga at plus 750 if they can somehow get by McNeese, upset Kansas, and then possibly an opportunity to upset Purdue. You could get them at plus 750 as well. But I Creighton's a team I could get behind here betting wise as we move on in this tourney.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. Like I said, that region in general to me is up for grabs. I mean, Kansas
Hmm.
is not your normal Kansas. Gonzaga is not really even
They're
the.
not no normal Gonzaga that you're used to.
I hate to say it, but I mean, Tennessee to me is Creighton and Tennessee. Tennessee is going to have to, you know, they're going to have to go through Creighton or vice versa, however you want to say that. But that's going to be a great matchup in the Sweet 16. But Purdue, man, they're set up to walk into the Elite Eight, and they're going to play Creighton or Tennessee. And Tennessee, probably top to bottom, is more talented. I mean, Illinois had a tough time with them. I mean that it's a good team. I don't, I didn't really follow that SEC tournament. I don't know how well they did there, how they played towards the end of the season, but I think Purdue's going to have a chip on their shoulder, and I'm taking Purdue to go to the Final Four. I just am because I think that's probably what's. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it won't happen, but I think they're definitely going to be all in. But yeah, that whole Midwest region, man, is there's 4 teams in there that could squeeze, that could make it out of there. So
Yeah, I don't mind sprinkling some money on a few different teams in that region. 'Cause I feel like you. I feel like that Midwest is the most open region in this thing. The biggest question for Purdue is they've been upset central the last couple years in the tourney, and I think you said it right early on in the show that the league has the committee has set them up to succeed here. They really gave them a nice path. Uh and is it finally the year Purdue gets it done and gets to the Final Four?
I'm taking them. I think it is, but that's just me going with the storyline. I don't know. It could be one of those things that they may feel the pressure, but I don't. Didn't Virginia lose in the first round and then come back and win the whole thing the next year? So
Absolutely. We could have it repeat. It's just like our dynasty football league. Everybody finishes last, and then they come back and win the league the very next year.
they've got to be. I mean, they lost in the first round, or their at least their first game of the Big Ten tournament. And I mean, for them, I think that wasn't the motivation. I mean, they were in that Big Ten tournament. All they're thinking about is what we're going to do in the real tournament. I don't think they had a lot of motivation in that Big Ten tournament. They've been resting up. Their whole main focus is we're not getting taken out this year early. And I think they're. I don't know. I think they're going to make a run. We'll see.
Nice. I got a few parlays I'm going to throw it at you guys. Benny, I'm going to see what you think about these. What I've done is anybody that follows me on Twitter or the X knows I like to put on my JT parlay play of the day. It's always a long shot. Everybody's like, "Oh, you haven't hit one in a while." I'm like, "I know. That's because I'm always taking a long shot. I just need to hit like 1 out of 10 and I'm golden." So these are usually always like pretty high, like plus 700, plus 1,000. Sometimes I get absolutely insane. I put like plus 2,000, plus 3,000 bets in. So here I did a couple 5-pick parlays for Thursday and Friday. Little opening round action. Kind of see what you think about these. Tell me your thoughts. I got a 5-pick parlay plus 1149 right now on DraftKings. This is a I can't remember which set. So what I try to do is I tried to match these in kind of groupings together. So you're taking games like early games, afternoon games, night games, kind of like I like to group them. I'm weird like that. It's like my football thing where I don't like to put afternoon games in with the morning games very often. I like to kind of like know if I won or lost, so I know where I need to go the rest of the way. So here's a little grouping I put together. We just talked about this a bunch. New Mexico, Clemson. Right now, I've got New Mexico on the money line, minus 135 in that game. They're actually favored as 11 seed. I think Auburn absolutely puts it to Yale. I actually took a little alternate spread because I think it's about 12, 12 and a half. I got it down to 8. Just to feel good about it. I got it down 8, minus 238. Added that to the mix. Nebraska, I feel like Nebraska comes out and gets their very first NCAA tournament whenever they've never won one, which is amazing. Fred Hoiberg has done a great job in Nebraska. Man, that guy can coach. Used to be at Iowa State, was at the Bulls. I mean, I think Nebraska lucked out like crazy to get him. He has actually made that program look pretty good. They're minus 112 in that 8-9 game with Texas A&M. They're the 8 seed. They're just slight favorite. I took them on the money line, minus 112. I took Utah State. I told you I think the Mountain West is getting a little bit dogged here. I've got them at +6, a little alternate spread there. I pushed it up a little bit to +6 against TCU. I think that's going to be a close game. I think Utah State wins it, but for the parlay, I wanted to cover myself, so I took the +6 at minus 150, and then Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, I think, can beat St. Mary's, but it's definitely a toss-up game. I mean, I think that game's gonna be real close. So I'm taking the points. I also did an alternate spread on that one. I took Grand Canyon +8 because I think they can win it. But if I can get points in case they lose a close one, I like it. I took them +8, minus 166. That's my 5-teamer at +1149. New Mexico money line, Auburn -8, Nebraska money line, Utah State +6, Grand Canyon +8. Ben, what do you say? You fading or following that one?
I like that one. I like everything about it, especially for, like you said, I mean, these are long shots. That's the whole point. But if you can envision it happening, yeah, you're gonna make a lot of long shot bets, put a little small, sprinkle on them, and if you hit 1 out of 10 or something like that, then they're fun. But I don't have a whole lot in. I've got one, and this is just for tomorrow. This is for Thursday. I've got a little 3-teamer with, and I think Illinois is going to win the game, but I took Morehead State in the points. I think I got them at like 12.5. And then I've got the other. I got 2 more. Yeah, Bruce is barking at Bubby. I'm gonna have to remember these now. I think I took 2 other. Oh, I took FAU on the money line just to win the game against Northwestern. So Northwestern money line, Morehead State in the points, and then I had Oakland plus the points against Kentucky. I think Kentucky's going to win, but I think Oakland's going to hang in there and cover. So I don't know. I think it was a 3-teamer at like plus 240 or something like that, and that's for tomorrow. So if you want something to look at for Thursday, that'd be kind of a fun one. Like I can't remember the times on all those games. They're probably spread out. I didn't really look at that, but who knows?
Yeah, another one I got. I like that one a lot. Here's another one I've got out there. The kind of these are some of the ones I initially just jumped in right when everything came out because I was like, oh, I kind of like where these are at. I want to get on them early before a lot of lines moved because they have. If you haven't been paying attention, some of these lines teams started +2 and now they're -2, depending on the matchups. Another 5-pick parlay I got in. And I know some of you guys are probably like, "Oh, I'm trying to like write this down." I will post these on my X page tonight. I'll post some of these on my Twitter page. So at JT Orange, you can go there. I also post them on at JT Brew Stew. That's our page. Go ahead and follow that one. That's the Stew at JT Brew page on Twitter. I will post these as well in case you're like, "Oh man, what did he say again?" So here's the other one I have. My 5 pick. Oh, Bruce in the house. There we go, Brucey. 5 pick parlay. This one's plus 1715. So 1,715 on this one. I got Nevada money line against Dayton. I love that bet minus 122. I would take that bet just straight up. I Dayton does not have a lot of depth. Nevada was really good this year in the Mountain West, and I told you I'm hammering Mountain West teams in this tourney. I'm taking them. Oregon, I already told you, is my upset over South Carolina. This tells you how close that one is. That's a 611. Oregon right now is a slight money line favorite after they started as a dog. They're slight money line favorite at minus 102. I got them. Kentucky, Oakland. Listen to this one, folks. I think Kentucky absolutely scores a million points. They love to push the rock. I've got them over 88.5 total team points. I think they score 100 in this game. I think they actually pile it up. It's minus 120. I got McNeese State. I told you I'm taking Gonzaga to win the game, but I think it could be a battle. I'm taking alternate spread, McNeese State plus 10 in that one at minus 190 in case they get the upset and move on. I've got them plus 10. And then another game I really like, 7-10 game, Drake against Washington State. I I like Drake in this game. They're close to home. I think they're going to have a good crowd there. If they win that game, they get Iowa State. That's Iowa battle in-state rivalry. Drake wants Iowa State. Their fans want Iowa State so bad in the tourney. They want to play them so bad. They used to play each other every year. They don't anymore. Drake wants that game. They want to play Iowa State. I'm taking Drake on the money line, minus 125. So again, that's Nevada money line, Oregon money line, Kentucky over team points 88.5. McNeese State plus 10 and Drake money line. That's a 5 pick parlay plus 1,715 on DraftKings. So those are some of my early ones that I really like. So those ones are big. Like I said, I'll post those ones. Single games I really like. Nevada. I told you I'm on Nevada big time. If you're on DraftKings, they have a boost 64%, for 64 teams. They got the 64% boost. You can put it on one game. I think it's there. I think there's a max you can bet on the game. But I like Nevada a lot. I took that as my one game. I took my Nevada money line. I took it from minus 112 to plus 140, 146 on the 64% boost. So I really like Nevada in that game. That's one of my favorites. Benny, like you said, I like Illinois. I got Illinois, Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, my total homer pick ever with all my three teams there. I'm taking all three of those to win in the first round. So that's a money line. And I'm probably gonna look at throwing maybe because I can't help myself. I always have to put a fourth or a fifth game in there. I can't just take the win. I might throw one or two more in there. Like I said, I really like that Nevada game. I think Nevada against Dayton is looking really good. There's a few other of these. I'm trying to decide like some just absolute hammer 'em games I like. Like I said, the Nevada one's one of my favorites, so I might throw that one in to get me my fourth seed. Uh, and then I might just let it sit at that. If I really want to kick it up a notch, if Colorado wins tonight against Boise State, I might throw Colorado. So anybody that doesn't know, my niece goes to the University of Colorado. My sister and brother-in-law went to Florida Atlantic. I went to San Diego State. We live next to U of I. I'm just gonna hammer the family bet. I'm gonna take all the favorites, and I'm gonna probably put in a four-teamer on that. You know why? Just because I want to root hard for it. Is it the smartest bet in the world? Probably not. And most bettors will tell you don't bet with your heart. I can't help myself. I'm a fan as well. I'm going to bet my heart, Benny.
Sometimes too, you can string together some favorites on the money line, and those are pretty good bets. You throw three or four together that you really feel like you're going to win, and you can end up with some decent odds. And not to mention, like you said, those are teams that you're going to root for anyway. So you might as well throw them in there and have a good time with it. And yeah, I like that a lot. Those would be good. I think I can do. Can you hear me? Okay. For some reason, I'm not picking you up on my end at this point, but I think you're talking my final four. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'm kind of chalky this year. Unfortunately, it's not going to be anything crazy, but I'm going to go Purdue. I'm going to go ah, that bracket
So you got Purdue out of the Midwest. I like that one.
at Purdue. I'm going to
Sorry,
go.
I noticed I was on mute. That was totally my bad. Yes, we're going for the close out the show here. Sorry about that. We're gonna go your final four picks, championship game and champion, just off the cuff of what you like in the bracket. No betting odds, but just who you're taking through your bracket here.
I'm going to go Purdue. I'm going to go UConn. This is Final Four.
Mhm.
I'm going to go. Oh, I'm going to go Arizona out of the West. And then I am going to take Houston. So I'm going to, that's, I got 3 1s and a 2. So that's,
Uh,
but I don't know. I just feel like there's some teams that are kind of the cream of the crop, and it probably would be not even close to that. It'd probably be some wild teams in there, but that's what I'm going with.
okay, I like it. I like it. So for me, starting in the East, I think UConn is definitely the favorite. I don't know, man. I've got this crazy feeling. And I know this is a homer pick of all homer picks. I got a crazy feeling. I think Illinois is going to do it. I think Illinois is going to get the Final Four. I really do. Terrence Shannon, Coleman Hawkins, they came back for this reason. And this team is old. Uh, Old as in good old. They got a lot of older players. Marcus Damask, the grad transfer, Guerrier. I mean, this team is one of the most experienced teams in the entire tourney. I like them. I'm going to take the upset of Illinois coming out of the East. Out of the West, I've really kind of like gone back and forth on this one. Um, I like Baylor. I like Arizona. I kind of think North Carolina gets it done. So I'm going to take Illinois out of the East uh, to play North Carolina out of the West. Obviously, last time Illinois was in the Final Four, they played and lost to North Carolina in the championship game. I was at that game. It was a brutal loss, probably, if not the best team in Illinois history, one of the top 3 or 4 for sure. So that would be a great matchup in the Final Four. Houston is extremely tough. Man, I do not like Kelvin Sampson as a former Indiana coach. He drives me crazy. Houston's really tough. I think Kentucky surprises. I don't know why. I've got this just gut feeling that Kentucky is just underperformed all year and they're going to crank it up turning time here with Calipari. He knows how to get it done as a 3 seed. I think Kentucky comes out of the South and now the Midwest. This one, like you said, I think this is the most up for grabs by far region. I could see so many teams coming out of this region. I really could. For some reason, when I'm filling out my bracket, and I've been going through and I'm just penciling out, and I'm just like, okay, the ones I'm not like, don't think hard about it. Take who you think's going to win. Almost all those ones I've taken Tennessee.
I can see that.
So I think Tennessee. I think Rick Barnes gets it together here with Tennessee. I think they finally break through. I think Tennessee wins the Midwest. So I got Tennessee and Kentucky SEC rematch, which would be wild because the SEC was not very good in basketball this year. And they get two teams that play each other in Final Four would be kind of wild. I think they play each other again. I think Illinois meets North Carolina. I'm gonna homer pick it and think Illinois takes out North Carolina, and I think Kentucky upsets Tennessee, and I think we get Illinois Kentucky in the championship game. And if I've already homered it this far, I'm going to take Illinois. I think the older guys beat the inexperienced Kentucky 5 stars, and I think Illinois gets it done. I've got Illinois taking out Kentucky in a super high scoring championship game. I think it's going to be in the high 80s, low 90s. That is my pick to kind of finish things out here.
I'm with you, man. I
You
like
like it, Benny?
it too. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I definitely think they could do it. This is one of the teams that Illinois has had. We've had teams that were hyped that you kind of knew in your heart just didn't have what it took probably to do it. This is a team that actually probably has what it takes. We're just in a really tough region, but I'm I like your Final Four better than mine.
I hope so. Let's hope it hits. That is going to do it for us. Thanks for everybody who jumped on and checked out the stream. Make sure you check out our picks at JT Orange, at JT Brew Stew. Give us a follow on there. If you like us, go to Total Apex Sports, follow their YouTube page, then head over to the JT Brew, JT Stew with JT Brew, excuse me. Follow that page as well. We're going to be putting out bets all over throughout the rest of the tournament. I am stoked for tonight. I'm ready to fill out some more brackets. I'm ready to join some more pools. People just keep sending me invites, and I can't help myself. I'm just going to jump into a bunch more. So I want to thank Ben Dyer for helping me out here tonight at Autotown here tonight. Live here in Champaign, Illinois. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for joining us here on the brew was on the stew with JT Brew here on Total Apex Sports. We'll check you next time. Have a good one.